I think it is extremely important, and I thank the gentlelady from Pennsylvania for her leadership and my good friend from Kentucky. I think it is very important to come to ensure the American people, and particularly my husband, Dr. Lee, and to proclaim, which we have the ability to do as members of Congress, that no one's gas stove will be lost or taken. In fact, I even heard members say, I'm buying a gas stove or I'm getting a gas stove. Let me proclaim again, no gas stove will be taken from any American ever, ever. It is interesting to be on the floor fighting about freedom and protection of a gas stove. Needless to say, today is June 6th. I stood earlier today to honor D-Day. I know what those men died for. And so it is important to be able to protect consumers from dangerous explosions of any kind. And that is all that our agencies are doing. Again, proclaim, no one's gas stove is being taken away. We will be debating freedom of a gas stove, protection of a gas stove, when children, 8 per day, are dying because of gun violence. I only ask the question. I want my constituents in Houston to know, my constituents in Texas to know, my constituents in the nation to know, as we represent the entire nation, that no one's gas stove needs protection or freedom, because there is an agency that prospectively 3 years is looking to ensure that all gas stoves are safe. We owe that to the American people. And I have now for the 3rd time been engaged with the RAINS Act. Please let me explain to you what that is. It is literally a stop sign of the executive functioning. Because if a regulation is abusive to the American people, we can file, and it often happens, lawsuits to challenge that. And that will be individual consumers or companies. But when you have a regulation, it takes at least a year almost for the input of the American people to be able to say this is a regulation that works or not. But the RAIN Act will require the Congress to intercede every moment. So if it is about asthma, if it is about heart disease and a regulation comes out, if it is about good medication, you won't get it because the Congress will have a rein around. It will be a stranglehold and we'll get nothing done.
Good evening, friends. President Biden just made a huge announcement. He will be vetoing a new bill that Republican lawmakers have passed through Congress. This means millions of Americans may not need to pay back the federal government this summer. The Federal Reserve is also expected to unveil some big news on interest rates very soon. My dearest friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video. Also, this coming Friday, I will be announcing more winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, all you need to do is click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, my friends, the greater your chances of winning the weekly giveaways. Today, President Biden swiftly vetoed Republican-led legislation that would have repealed his plan to cancel up to $20,000 of student debt for tens of millions of Americans. GOP lawmakers, with the help of a handful of moderate Democrats, last week passed a resolution to nullify Biden's student debt relief program. They criticized the plan as too costly for taxpayers and unfair to Americans who did not attend college. The veto is the 5th of Biden's presidency. Earlier this year, Biden rejected Republican-led efforts to overturn other policies, including a Department of Labor rule on socially responsible investing and the administration's suspension of tariffs on solar panels. Biden's latest veto effectively cuts off the legislative effort to undo Biden's student debt relief. This is because Republicans will not be able to win over enough Democrats to build a two-thirds majority needed in either chamber to override Biden's rejection of the legislation. But President Biden's student debt relief program remains in jeopardy at the Supreme Court. The justices are preparing to rule in the coming weeks, potentially as early as Thursday, on whether to allow the Biden administration to proceed with a debt relief program. Republican state attorney generals and a conservative group are suing to stop the program. Progressives have already urged Biden to come up with an alternative path to canceling student debt if the Supreme Court rejects its first attempt. In the House, Democratic Representatives Jared Golden and Marie Perez voted in favor of the GOP resolution to block Biden's debt relief. Last week, Senator Joe Manchin also blasted the program, saying it is a reckless plan that forces hardworking taxpayers who already paid off their loans or did not go to college to shoulder the costs. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts about Biden's student debt relief program? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. When the Federal Reserve meets next week, it is widely expected to leave interest rates alone after 10 straight meetings in which it has jacked up its key rate to fight inflation. But what might otherwise be seen as a pause will likely be characterized instead as a skip. The difference is that a pause might suggest that the Fed may not raise its benchmark rate again. A skip implies that it probably will, just not now. The purpose of suspending its rate hikes is to give the Fed policymakers time to look around and assess how much higher borrowing rates are slowing inflation. One group of Fed officials would like to pause their hikes and decide, over time, whether to increase rates any further. But a second group worries that inflation is still too high and would prefer that the Fed continue hiking at least once or twice more, beginning next week. When the Fed chair speaks at a news conference next Wednesday, he will likely make it clear that the central bank's key rate may eventually go even higher. For more than 1 year, the Fed's 18-member rate setting committee has presented a unified front. All the officials were nearly unanimous in their support for rapid rate hikes to stop a burst of inflation that had increased to the highest level in 4 decades. The Fed raised its rate by substantial 5 percentage points in 14 months. That is the fastest pace of increases in 40 years to a 16-year high. The policymakers hope that the resulting tighter credit will slow spending, cool the economy, and curb inflation. The rate increases have led to sharply higher mortgage rates, which have contributed to a steep fall in home sales. Compared with a year ago, sales of existing homes have tumbled by nearly a quarter. Credit card rates have also climbed higher, and many consumers have had to bear the weight of that costlier cost of credit card debt. So friends, do you think that the Fed will raise interest rates again? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Well, my awesome and most beautiful friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Thursday. My dearest friends, thank you very, very much for joining me here and for being part of this community. To say thank you and to show my appreciation, I will be announcing several winners this coming Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter the weekly giveaway, my dear friends, all you need to do is click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, my friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed week.